Hi there, this is Shantanu from SPI Great Science, and we help B2B companies get more clients. Now, everyday companies design thousands and thousands of products and services to improve the quality of our lives. But the problem is 72% of the new products and services, they fail. So this means that customers really don't care about the new products and services. Out of 10 products, seven types of products are basically customers don't care about them, right? And also I've seen with many B2B companies that they fail to attract new clients on demand, predictably. And because of that, most of them, they keep struggling or they remain small. And I personally believe that this doesn't have to be this way because if you want to acquire clients predictably, you need to have three things present in your business. Number one is a very powerful message. Number two is a perfect channel. And number three is the perfect offer. And in this training, I'm going to talk about creating a powerful message, the first pillar, and what I call it, how do you create a powerful customer value proposition? So basically, there are many tools available in the market to determine the value proposition. But I like this one the most from Strategizer. And it's called the value proposition canvas. And basically, it is composed of two parts. On the right hand side, you will see the ideal customer profile. And on the left hand side, you will see our value map. So the products, our products and services. And then how do you basically our products and services connect with our customers, how they solve their problems and how they help them to complete their jobs and how they can get a lot of benefit from our products and services, right? So basically, as you can see on the right hand side, we have the customer profile. Now, typically what I've seen is marketeers, they have something called the ideal persona, and where they are mapping the demographics, the amount of money the customer earns, and then they ask what the customers want. And I think this is a very flawed approach because you actually don't get to the right conclusions. And I'm going to prove it to you that why that approach is wrong and why you should basically focus on customer jobs instead of asking customers what they really want. Now, the jobs can be basically there are three types of jobs. It can be a functional job. That means, suppose if you're traveling from one place to second place, that is like going from A to B is a functional job. Or it can be a social job, which can be like you have to impress your clients, impress your friends or colleagues. Or it can be an emotional job, which is gaining peace of mind. So we have three types of jobs. And then basically you can see that there are pains associated by doing the job and there are gains associated when it comes to doing the jobs. So this is a very beautiful way of understanding the customer, what job he is doing, what are the pains he's experiencing and what are the gains he's expecting, right? And basically gains means how customer measure the success of the job well done. Gains means the positive outcomes customers hope to achieve to get concrete results, benefit, or even fulfill their aspirations. And this beautiful tools really helps us to visualize, exactly all the three components, and it kind of becomes a very beautiful map to learn more about our customers. And on the left hand side, you can see that there is a value map. So we basically here we list the products and services, to build our value proposition. We describe in which way our products and services are going to be pain relievers for our customers, how they are going to eliminate, reduce, or minimize pains customers really care about, and how we are going to make their life easier. And we are also going to outline the gain creators, how our products or services can increase or maximize outcomes and benefits for our customers. And, you know, that the customers truly desire. So basically, where we will be able to get a very clear idea of what type of products we should create and what type of communication we should do to relieve their pain and create massive gains, right? And this is very important. And we achieve it by creating a clear connection between what really matters to our customers and turn our product or our services and the features to keep decreasing their pains and increasing their gains. And when our product delivers more value, more perceived value than what the customer is willing to pay, you are going to get a sale. And great value propositions target essential customer jobs, pains, and gains, and they do it extremely well. Your customer profile may have countless jobs what they must be doing, right? And there may be countless pains and gains, but your value proposition should highlight the ones which are the most important aspects to your customer. So you have 10 jobs, you are having 10 pains, you have got 10 gains, but you need to have a hierarchy, and your value proposition to should talk to the topmost things which really matter to your customer. And one more small warning, that you may have an awesome value proposition, but your business might still fail because of flawed business model. And in the next training session, I'm going to talk about all the different business models, which can help you better understand how do you scale your business rapidly, right? And basically, what successful business companies do is they embed outstanding value propositions and into their scalable and profitable business model. So you need to have a great business model, and you have to make sure that your value propositions are deeply embedded within those business models to really actually succeed. Correct. So now I'm going to explore different types of jobs what we are the customers are going to do. And as you can see here, I'm going to show you an example of a business traveler, and in here you can see that the customer job is the central or the core concept. All right. And the getting the jobs done effectively is the core concept and of this tool. And we are going to figure out what jobs our customers are trying to complete whenever we are writing great value propositions. This is what we need to figure out. And then, of course, we use the gains field to describe what success looks like to them, and the pains field to describe what failure looks like to them. Once we have the descriptive understanding of customer jobs, we can easily describe how you are going to create value for your customers. So basically, how are our products and services are helping our customers to get the jobs done? That's the basic premise, right? And what's different about customer way as compared to the old way? As I said, in marketing, we use that persona based kind of a thing where there are a lot of limitations because customers often don't know what they really want. So let me illustrate this by giving a famous example from Henry Ford, where he said, if I had asked a customer what they were, Henry Ford basically is the founder of Ford Motor Company, and he is known as the innovator because he introduced the best cars to the world. And he said that if I had asked the customers what they really wanted, they would have probably said, we want a faster horse. You see? So basically, this shows very interestingly that customers are notoriously bad at describing what they really want, in particular when we are talking about new products and services. So when we are creating new value proposition, we shouldn't ask them what they want. You should get them to talk more about the jobs they are trying to get done, the pains and gains that are related to those jobs. And typical marketeers, they also talk about customer segments based on their social demographic profile. And I think really this is a big problem because you cannot simply have those segments based on what customers want, etc., as I just proved it to you. So segmenting is possible, but segmenting based on jobs to be done is much more accurate. And this is very, very important. So let's understand, or let's explore the job concept a bit in more depth. So what is a job to be done? It's what a customer is trying to get done basically. And this could be in a work context, in a professional context, or in the context of their lives as well. It includes different things like tasks, problems, and needs. And we should also consider the context in which these jobs are performed. For example, why the context is important is like, look, you want to make a phone call, but when you are driving the call, the way you will do the phone is very different than perhaps you are doing the phone when you are sitting, on a sofa in your home. When you drive the car, you will prefer to have a Bluetooth so that you don't get distracted. Wherein when you are sitting and relaxing in your house, you don't require Bluetooth. You can just have a normal phone call. So the context is also very, very important, right? And so let me show you one proper example of jobs to be done. Now, let me ask you, suppose if you are a business traveler, what are you going to pack in your bag for the next business thing, business trip? So basically, you are going to put different things in your suitcase, right? So, for example, you might be putting a fresh underwear because you need to change into fresh clothes every day. And if you're going for a business trip, of course, if you're going to stay for a couple of days, you will have more than just one fresh underwear. Then also you might pack a very beautiful watch, not because you want to just see the time, but you want to look successful, to your clients and your colleagues, etc. So that is very important. You also perhaps might pack a few photographs of your family members because you are away from them and you want to feel connected, right? So you are doing these three different jobs basically, you know. And so if I'm selling a bag, instead of I talking about maybe the quality of the bag and all that kind of normal stuff, I can understand what jobs a customer is doing and then communicate to him that, look, hey, I have a special compartment to keep your undergarments. I have a special compartment to keep your watch, or maybe I can have a special compartment to have. So more compartments is your value proposition. And then perhaps it can really click with your customer, right? And that is what we need to understand. Now, let me explain to you what something much deeper, right? So let's take an example of the music industry. Now, the job for us, for example, let's take a job. What we are going to do is to listen to music. Now, the solution the products have at our disposition for listening music have changed over the years, right? So in 1990s, the main product for listening music used to be vinyls. Then within a couple of years, vinyl started losing market share to cassettes because people preferred cassettes to the vinyls, right? Because they were smaller and maybe more efficient. And then came the CDs, which killed the entire cassette business till 2014. And then you have seen that after 2014, people are using Spotify to listen to music. People are using YouTube. So every decade, there has been a change. So the job remains the same, but the way we listen is complete. The products are completely different. So imagine the problem is if you were a cassette manufacturer and if you'd have used your competitors for your messaging, etc., rather than focusing on the job, you would have been definitely out of the business. So there are different products with different value propositions that help us to get the job done, like listening to music. And this is going to continue. So you are going to keep continue listening to music. But if you understand the job the customer is doing, the pains and gains, you will be able to create much, much, much better products, right? Now, there is another very, very interesting example given by Professor Christensen about hiring milkshakes. So he basically tells us that why customers hire milkshakes and to help and what jobs they are doing. So it's a weird way of framing things, but let's dive into it. So basically, one fast food company was trying to increase their sales of milkshakes. So as usual, they did some market research, focus groups, and they spoke to many, many customers and asked them what do they want. And the feedback they got from the customers is they wanted chocolate in the milkshakes. Some people say we want fruits in the milkshake. And many people say we want the milkshakes to be cheaper. So after they got all this feedback, they implemented the suggestions. And the result was like it didn't actually make any difference. Zero impact on sales. So it's not enough to talk to your customers alone. It's important to frame the problem in the right way. The fast food then brought in this Christensen's consulting company, and this company asked a very different question. And the question was, what job causes people to hire a milkshake? Why are they hiring a milkshake? So what this guy did was the consultant used to stand in front of the food store and continuously observe the customers for hours. And what he observed was 74 to 75% of the milkshakes were actually sold before 8 a.m. in the morning, while the remaining 30% were sold at 5 a.m. And the people who bought the milkshakes at 8 a.m. were always alone. And when they bought it, that's the only thing they brought and they rushed away. So then he understood that people are basically hiring the milkshake to do a very specific job, which is to do something during the long and boring commute to work. So people in the morning, they are rushing to work and it's quite a boring ride and they want the ride to be interesting. That's why actually they are hiring a milkshake. Now, because they got this beautiful insight, what the company did is they started to improve the milkshake. They created a thicker shake so that people will take longer time to complete it, right? To drink it. Then they created thinner straws so that the speed in which they consume a milkshake will be reduced. And they also started putting different chunks in a milkshake, to create some kind of a unpredictable experience. So they made this very interesting, and this is a very interesting examples to show how customers, how milkshake actually helps customers to get the job done. What we also learn from this example is the competitors to the milkshakes are not other milkshakes. The competitors to the milkshake are bananas, donuts, bagels, and sneaker bars. So if you want to frame the market not in terms of competitors or other milkshake providers, but you must provide a solution to the job to be done. And in this case, the company was able to increase the sales multifold times because now the market was much bigger and they could frame the market based on the customer's job to be done, right? I hope I'm able to clearly elaborate. So, what are the types of jobs now? And basically, we have to classify these jobs according to the importance to your customers. That is the key, basically, right? So, let's look at the example of the business travel. Now, the situation context could be he wants to travel, so he could basically stay in a hotel, or he can rent, stay in an Airbnb, or basically he could stay with his friends, right? So the job remains the same, which is staying outside somewhere. But the solution and the value proposition that help with this job could be very, very different. So let's use the value proposition tool to go through the exercise. We are going to focus on customer job and blend out the left hand side, the value map, which represent the solution. So let's try to brainstorm a couple of jobs here that the business traveler might have. So you're traveling because you have a business to attend. So you want to stay somewhere overnight. So what you will do is you will want to perhaps reserve an accommodation, which could be booking a hotel or calling a friend to stay with them, right? Then you might want to feel connected with home while you're traveling. You may want to call your friends, call your family, your wife, etc. So you will need a phone. Now, of course, you need to get some great sleep and rest because you are traveling for a couple of days and you want to be in the best form when you are actually conducting your meetings. So sleep becomes very, very important. Then you may have to eat well because you are traveling. So food, the quality of food also is very important. You also want to look good with the clients, right? So let's take all these jobs. So basically we have four types of jobs here. One is the one is functional job, the social job, emotional job, and supporting jobs. And we will go through each one of them, right? So let's go for the type one, which is the functional job. Now, functional jobs are basically the tasks your customers are trying to get done. Very functional, like mowing the lawn, eating healthy, or writing a report. Now, if you look at in our case, the business traveler, he was having four functional jobs related to business travel. They are basically he wants to stay somewhere, he has a business to attend, he has to sleep, and he has to eat something, right? So these are the functional jobs our business traveler is doing. Now let's look at the social job which our business traveler is doing here. And for him, the he wants to look great in front of his client. He wants to show status. So basically, Rolex. Basically, he might if he is having a Rolex watch with him. I think he is going to feel good about himself. It elevates his stature, etc. Right. So that is a social job which he's doing. Now, for example, in social jobs, a lot of people now they like to stay in a five-star hotel because they want to communicate. When they communicate with their prospect, they say, I'm staying in a five-star hotel, thereby showing them that they have a higher status. Then let's look at the emotional jobs. This is really how your customer wants to feel. So, for example, our business traveler What he wants peace of mind, right? When he's staying in a hotel, he wants to feel connected with his home. All these are emotional states, right? So when you are investing, you want to have the feeling of job security, and so on and so forth, right? So these are the emotional jobs the business traveler is doing. And here we can see that there are two emotional jobs. He wants to feel connected with his home, and also he wants to feel safe. Then comes the fourth job, which are the supporting job, right? So basically, in our business case, the supporting job is, reserving the accommodation, like, how he is going to book it. That is the fourth job he is doing, right? And so what we have to do is we have to brainstorm all the jobs basically the customer is doing. And then it's important to basically ask ourselves that how important are these to actual customers? And then we need to create the list of as per what the customers really value, right? So this is very, very important. We have to keep them ranking one by one, you know, to make sure that the topmost jobs, important jobs are right on the top, and then the insignificant ones are put at the bottom here. So here you can see looking good with clients is very important. Business to attend is very important, and feeling safe, for example, is the insignificant thing for the business customer, right? So this is what it is all about. Now, basically, I'm going to talk about the pains, right? So we have to look at what are the pains, that will affect him for his jobs to be done, right? So this is very important. So what is a pain? Basically, a pain is an undesired outcome, a problem or a dislike that the customer experiences before, during, or after trying to complete a job. It could also be an obstacle that prevents a customer from getting a job done well, or it could be a risk, something that could happen, potential bad outcome that if it happens is a real big pain. So we will use our example of the business traveler to look at some pains together and to better understand this concept of pains. So what are the pains that a business traveler experiences or might experience in terms of finding an accommodation? Well, if you go to a hotel, you know that check-in and check-out can be a really big pain. Or maybe you don't know about the tipping practices, right? You don't know what is the standard practice of tipping there. That can be a pain. Then, of course, if your accommodation is noisy, then it's bad news. You don't want that. Then maybe if you don't have a Wi-Fi, it can be very, very annoying. Or if you're going to a hotel and you have already paid $400 to book a room, you don't want to pay another $20 for a decent Wi-Fi. So this is a very big pain. Then, of course, I have experienced myself, about the shower. Like a lot of times, I don't know which side, to turn off and which side is going to get me cold water or a hot water. And a lot of times, either I have been burnt or, I had very cold water and, when during winter. So, so that's like a big pain for me. Then maybe a bad mattress can be a big pain because you may not be able to sleep properly, right? Or you found out later on that the same hotel is available at a cheaper rate, but you booked it through the wrong website and you landed up paying a lot more money. So this is also another big pain. Or for example, one more pain I can think of is imagine that, you are carrying your laptop and you forgot the cable in the house, right? And then you are not able to do any work. Now that can be a very, very big pain, right? So there are basically, as I said, there are many pains, but primarily there are three types of pains. The number one pain is the undesired outcome, problems and dislikes. Then comes the obstacles preventing the customers from getting the job done well. And the last one is the risk and fear about what could really go wrong in their business. So let's go through one by one. The first one about things you don't like when you perform a job or a solution that doesn't work the way it should. So in our case, in case of a business traveler, we have quite a few pains like this, undesired, the first type of pain, which is like pains like tipping, not knowing the tipping practices, or the room being too noisy, or you have a bad mattress, or you have a difficult shower, or Check in and check out is a very long, cumbersome procedure, and you absolutely hate that, right? So that is the first type of pain. The second type of pain is a bit different. Here we are talking about obstacles, things that prevent the customer from getting a job done. So in our case of the business traveler, we just want one, which is the lack of time to evaluate the different solutions, like, which is the best website, if he got the best rate or something like that. The third type of pain is about risks, right? Things that could go wrong. They don't always go wrong, but if they go wrong, they are a real pain. So in our case, for example, quite a lot of things could happen, and if they happen, then they are really a big pain, like forgetting the charging cords at home, a bad mattress, a difficult shower, bad room temperature, the AC is not working. It can be really a big pain, right? So this is what it is. Now, once you come up with all the pains, you want to rank them again, as we did for jobs. You want to look at the pain, the severity, and want to ask yourself which pains does the customer finds extreme and which pain the customer finds moderate. And then we have to rank them from the most important on top to the least important at the bottom. So if you forget your laptop adapter and you can't get the work done, that's pretty annoying. So we should be able to fill out the pains field in two different ways, right? So either we can do it to job by job, right? So for example, in this example, let's take a job which is getting good sleep and getting some rest. Now the pains associated with this job can be noisy neighbors, bad mattress, loud air conditioning. All those kind of things will make sure that you are not going to sleep well, and these are the very, very big pain points, right? And then there is something called a free form way, where we don't look at just from job span, but we can just add different things. For example, a clean room, looking good with clients, getting great rest, check in and check out times, and all those kind of things. And we see these are all the frames basically, right? So there are two ways of doing it. One is through job by job, and then there is through free form. And then what we do is basically we make sure that we start with the top job, where we select a job and ask ourselves what are all the pains related to that, and make sure that we are able to basically write down the most important pains what the customer is going to feel, and to the least important, right? And this is very, very important, right? So, what are the lessons we have learned in this? Is basically there are three types of pains: the desired outcomes, problems, and dislikes, the obstacles, and lastly, the risks. And then we have to rank these pains with the most extreme on top, the moderate ones in the middle, and the least ones at the end, right? So that is how we map the pain. So till now, we have understood what are the different jobs the customer is doing, and when he's doing the job, what are the pains he's going to experiment, right? Now let's look at gains. So I'm here going to talk about customer gains. The customer gains means an outcome and benefit that your customers really want. It's basically how your customers measure the success of the job well done. And it can be through, again, different sources like functional utility, social gains, positive emotions, or cost savings. And we will use the example of the business traveler to study gains a little bit more. So we already have our jobs and our pains already done. Now let's blend them out to focus on the gains. So what kind of gains does a business traveler expect during travel? Well, definitely a clean room, a high-speed Wi-Fi, of course, having power plugs at the right place, maybe just beside your bed will be great. Catching great sleep, 8 to 10 hours of sleep, that would be amazing. Of course, if somebody, imagine you get a custom mattress, then how are you going to feel about it? And so let's make this more exact, right? So what's the wait time that you expect? Maybe you want your accommodation close to where your meetings are. And maybe why not a free laundry? That could be pretty cool, right? So there are different types of gains here. First gains are required gains. That means the solution won't work without them. In our example of a business traveler, you definitely want to have a clean room and a Wi-Fi, right? or else you are not going to stay there. Simple. So they are essential, the required gains. The expected gains are those that we expect from a solution, but we could actually live without, work without them. So, for example, you might get a Wi-Fi, but you probably expect a high-speed Wi-Fi, and you really expect power plugs next to your bed so that you can get your work done in the evening. So these are the expected gains. The desired gains are that they go beyond what you expect and you really love them. So, for example, as I said about a customized mattress, what if you get a customized mattress? I think that will be something great. And the last ones are unexpected gains. These are the gains, they go well beyond what you desire or what you even expect. So, for example, what if you got you all your laundry done in a hotel absolutely free of cost? Now, that is kind of an unexpected gain, right? Because you're not expecting it, right? So, once you have all these gains properly mapped out, then what you need to do is you have to make sure that they are properly listed one by one. And then, as per the importance, what are the most essential, what are the most nice to haves, and you have to map them all very, very properly. So, basically, you can also, as I said, list the gains as per the jobs you are doing, right? So, for example, you are doing the job of staying overnight in a hotel. Then, of course, the gains can be beautiful furniture. If your room has a beautiful view, if the room is soundproof, if your hotel has got a lovely gym, if there is an available spa, if your room is very spacious, all those kind of beautiful gains are going to be with the job. And then of course you can do the free form as well, as I mentioned before. So what are the lessons learned is basically there are four types of gains: required, expected, desired, and unexpected. Then we need to rank those gains as per the what customers perceive as essential and which ones are nice to have. Add gains one job at a time or in a free form. So once you understand the jobs, basically the pains and gains very, very clearly, and then you are able to create a very, very powerful value proposition which your customers are going to love, and then you can acquire great customers. Now, couple of more things I would like to talk about. That, as I said, there are many, many types of jobs, but you need to, if you really want to build a great business, you want to focus on the high value job. So, what is a high value job? Basically, the job which is important, which is tangible. There has to be a lot of dissatisfaction about that job, and it has to be lucrative. So, when you are solving a problem, solve a bigger problem. Focus on, if you are a B2B company, you need to focus on, what are the high value jobs your customers are trying to complete, and just make sure that you focus on those four aspects so that you will have sufficient margins for your business to grow. I hope you like this particular training. And here I will just quickly give you a small example of Tesla, even though I have kind of explained everything properly, but just to further, deepen the concept in your mind, let me quickly explain to you what Tesla is. So, what are the jobs people are doing when they are using a car? So, they are using it to commute to work. Then it acts as a personal mobility vehicle. But then you just don't want a car. You want to differentiate yourself from others. So you want to have a better status symbol. Then it should be in sync with personal values. That if you value, you know, natural, if you value, if you have a views on climate change, then you don't want to buy a car which is guzzling a lot of gas, right? You want a much efficient car. Then what you want is occasionally you're going to drive it long distance. So you want to make sure that the tank capacity is there, right? And the car is able to go at least 300-400 kilometers in one stretch. So these are the different jobs you are doing when you are actually buying any car, or using a car, right? Now, what are the pains related to buying a car, right? So number one is you don't want people to laugh at you, for example, that what kind of a stupid car you want. Then you don't want a lack of space in the car. You don't want the car, you know, which has got a lot of high maintenance cost. If you're using an electric car, you don't want the battery to drain down very fast, right? Then the maintenance cost should not be very high. You should not be worried about, oh my God, if I'm driving from A place to B, suddenly the battery goes dead and you come to a standstill. You don't want that kind of a stuff, right? So all these are the different pain points when it comes to buying an electric car. And then what are the gains you are expecting? So the car has to have high quality safety ratings. Maybe if it is a self driving, that's amazing. Then you should get compliments from your friends for buying that car. You should have very high quality after sale service. It should have a lot of brand value. The design of the car has to be very beautiful. Maybe if it has got a built in GPS, that will be fantastic. The performance has to be very beautiful. So all those kind of things. So see, these are the gains and the pains. And then each and every element, you look what customers value, and then you will be able to create a great brand like Tesla. So I hope I was able to communicate this very powerful tool, and I like you to basically work on this to create amazing value proposition. And if you are stuck there, we have also created some very powerful questions which allow us to really frame these things quite well. So if you want to grow your business predictably, then please feel to get in touch with me. My email is shantanu at spigreatsense.co, or you can just visit our website, spigreatsense.co, and then schedule a free consultation. Thank you so much. Thanks.